Knock, knock. Hi, I'm Ninya, and I'm going to be your nurse today, which today we're going to be performing a neurological assessment. But before we get started, I'm going to go ahead and pull the curtain to provide privacy. Then I'm going to go ahead and wash my hands. And can I please have a look at your wristband and have you state your first, last name, and your date of birth for me? And can you please advise of what month of the year it is? And also where we're currently located. Yeah, we are in the clinic, so thank you. And while I was asking you those series of questions, I was also assessing your speech just to make sure that your speech was appropriate and there was no slurred or delay, in which everything was fine. So what we notate that you're alert and oriented ×3. So as I said, we're going to go ahead and provide or perform a neurological assessment, which the neurological assessment does consist of several testing. Before we get started, do you have any questions or concerns or any safety hazards that I may need to know of? Okay, so with the neurological assessment, we're going to get started with your cranial nerves at first. So there's a total of 12 cranial nerves, and we just want to make sure that your senses are fine and there's nothing to be concerned about, and that that with the serial testing that you're responding as expected. So the first cranial nerve that we're going to start with, which is cranial nerve 1, which is to check your sense of smell. So can you please state what scent that is? Yes, vanilla, that's correct. Alrighty. Then your next nerve, which is cranial nerve 2, is to check your vision. So I'm going to ask that you please read the eye chart behind me, which is 20 feet away, in the lowest line possible. Okay, thank you. Now the next set of nerves, which is cranial nerves 3, 4, and 6. Those nerves all consist of checking your optical movement. So we just want to ensure that there's no concerns there, just to check your eye movement and to make sure that your eye is responding as expected. So what we use to check that is your what we call is the 6 cardinal gauge. So I'm going to ask that you follow my pen light without moving your head. Alrighty, thank you. And then the next nerve, which we're going to go back to, which is your cranial nerve 5. With your cranial nerve 5, that's just to check your muscles in your nerves in your jaw, just to make sure everything is there. So I'm going to ask that you unclench your jaws for me. Alrighty. And close your eyes and let me know when you feel the cotton. Alrighty. And then your next nerve is your cranial nerve 7, which that is to check your facial muscles. So I'm going to ask that you smile for me. Frown. And then puff out your cheeks. Again, smile. Frown. Puff out your cheeks. And then I'm going to go ahead and check for your cranial nerve 8, which cranial nerve 8 is to check for your hearing. So I'm going to ask that you close your eyes and let me know when you hear the sound. Yes. Yes. Okay. And then cranial nerve 9. Cranial nerve 9 is which where we check your gag reflex. So just go ahead and ask that you stick out your tongue for me. Alrighty, and then cranial. Oh, that's not so. Cranial nerve 9 is where we check your gag reflex. So I'll go ahead and just stick out your tongue for me. Okay, and then cranial nerve 10 is where we go ahead and ask that you say ah. And then I can see that your raised with formation, so there's no concerns there. And then now cranial nerve 11, which is to check for your muscles, your nerves in your muscle. I'm going to ask that you shrug your shoulders for me. Okay. And then last but not least, your cranial nerve 12, which is the have you stick out your tongue for me. Alrighty. Now, before we move on to the next portion of your neurological assessment, do you have any questions or concerns? Okay, so the next portion of your neurological assessment is your reflexes. So I'm going to go ahead and support your arm here, and going to go ahead and check for your check your tricep, your bicep, your brachial Achilles. Your brachial radius. And then I'm going to also ask that you sit at the edge of your, at the exam table and kind of let your leg hang over. And I'm going to go ahead and check your reflex. And I'm just going to hit below your patellar. All righty. And then also we're going to go ahead and check for your reflex in your Achilles. So I'm going to have you cross your leg over across your shin, and then I'll go ahead and check that. And then also the bottom of your foot. Okay, any questions or concerns before we move on? Okay, now we're coming to the portion where we just want to check your coordination, okay? So I'm going to have you go ahead and close your eyes, and then ask that you put your touch your nose with your finger, and we're going to do that on both sides, okay? All right, and then also have you take your heel of your right leg and run it up your left shin, and then the heel of your left leg and run it up your right shin. And then also, I know that you stated that you don't have any concerns or any issues with your walking. But still, we want to check for your stability. So I'm going to ask that you please stand, close your eyes for 20 seconds, and we just want to make sure that there's no swaying and that you're stable on your feet. Okay, great. Now I'm going to check for your strength. So I'm going to ask that you grab my hands and squeeze as hard as you can. Okay. Now push against. All right. Push and pull. All right. And then I'm going to go ahead and perform that on your lower extremities as well. And then now I want to check your sensory. So I just want to ensure that you can tell dull, sharp from dull. So this is going to be our dull end. Our sharp end, and this would be our dull end. Let me know when you feel it in the location. Sharp, left forearm. Dull, back of right hand. Alrighty, so we just completed our neurological assessment. We go ahead and wash my hands. Go ahead and open the curtain back, and then make sure that your call light is there in reach, and also that you have your water. Do you have any questions or concerns? Okay, I'll be back to check on you shortly. Thank you again for your time.